right being removed that causes a negative effect for any human being that is living in the United States is a problem. Period.
Welcome, my friends. This is the Dave Show, and I'm so glad you could be here today. We have a great episode planned for you, but before we get going with that, we have 3 sponsors we need to acknowledge and thank. The first sponsor is at David Murphy 8190. Thank you very much, David. The second sponsor is at Melissa Sullivan 5899. Thank you, Melissa, both of you, for your ongoing support of the channel. We do greatly appreciate it. The third sponsor is Myrna Living Good, which has to be one of the best last names. I mean, it's a daily affirmation every time you hear your last name. That's pretty cool. Now, Living Good, Myrna had a special request, and I am totally happy to oblige. So here it is. Happy birthday, Mary, which is Myrna's daughter. Happy birthday, Mary, and happy birthday to her nephew, Corgan. So I hope the two of you are having an absolutely fantastic happy birthday. I don't know if it's today. This might be actually a belated birthday. In any case, I hope you both have a very wonderful, special happy birthday. And I do appreciate you watching the detox, and I'm glad you enjoy it. So both of you have a great day. To all of our sponsors, have a great day, and let's get on with the show. Let's do it. All right, my friends, we are starting out with some memes. This first one talks to lost innocence, and I think we can all relate at some level. unless you're plugged into the hive mind, then maybe you don't get this at all. But let's take a look. What do you miss? I miss the way I viewed the world before I knew too much about it. Oh man, and they seem so depressed and downtrodden. But you know what? That is not the reality. The reality is there's a lot of things to be happy about in this life. We live in a beautiful world. We have beautiful people as part of our families and loved ones, and that is what we need to focus on, and that is what gives us joy and happiness in our life. So don't be downtrodden. Since Trump took office, we are definitely coming out of this haze of absurdity in how we are so sensitive about other people's feelings. So let's take a look at this next meme. Instead of trying not to offend anyone, what if we just go back to offending everyone? Blazing Saddles. Wow, that you could definitely find a lot of things to be offended in that movie. I don't care what race you are. But that's a very funny movie. Anyone that has not seen it really should, especially those younger kids that, might be triggered. Definitely go watch it. It's a classic. Maha is on the march, and it's a good thing. We just got word yesterday or a couple days ago maybe that Coca-Cola is going to switch from artificial sweetener to real cane sugar. I'll call it sugar cane. I'm not sure about cane sugar. Anyways, sugar cane sugar, tomato. Anyways, it's going in the Coke products in the US, and that is a good thing. I know that they've used sugarcane in their product that they ship to some other countries. I'm pretty sure in Japan they use sugarcane. I think in Mexico they use sugarcane. I'm not sure, but this is definitely a good thing. I don't know if they're going to come up with this whole separate Coke product, keep the sweetener and all the garbage in the original and have this new healthier version as an option. It's all about options, my friends. So if they do that, fine. If they just totally go straight sugarcane with everything, fine. But this is very, very good news for America. Go Maha. All right, my friends, it is time. We are jumping into that deep liberal pool of madness. So sit back, relax, and buckle up. We're about to enter the Lib Zone.
Integrity, how could you be doing this? At least have a vote on my point of order. Sir, with all appeals to your decency, with all appeals to your integrity, with all appeals to past jurisdiction and past precedent, why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's all we have here,
This
Mr.
is
Chairman.
wrong. To violate your own rules without going by the mandates of the parliamentarian. This is unbelievable. There's a way to do this. If you want to force this through, if you want to ram this through, there's a way to do it in accordance to the rules as spelled out by the parliamentarian. It is simple. It is clear. There's a pathway to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But, sir, this lacks decency. It lacks decorum. It shows that you do not want to simply hear from your colleagues. This is absolutely wrong.
Wholesome Trad Post says, when they can't win the vote, they throw the tantrum. Every time. It is ridiculous that they all get up and walk out of it. Come on, people. You know, they have no policy. They have no ideas. And their approval rating shows that. Yesterday, I believe it was 19%. 19%. Like, that is just outrageously horrible. Now, I'm not complaining because that means, hopefully, they will stay out of power for a very long time and we can, you know, finally get some real work done with this country and make it great again. All right, let's see what else we have about this. Someone important says, time to vote. Yeah, as soon as they walk out, it is time to vote. Look, I mean, none of the Democrats would be voting in a yay anyways, you know, so it doesn't matter if they're there or not. They're pretty much non-present as a political entity right now. So regardless, that's funny, time to vote. Kay Willoughby says, hypocrites complaining about decency and decorum. Yeah, the Democrats, when they're in charge of doing stuff, they have no decency, they have no decorum. They're just absolute bullies when they're in charge.
So the worst thing has happened. Like the
What?
thing that I thought was going to happen has happened.
Someone die?
And
What?
I think my landscaper has been deported.
Wow. If that's the worst thing that could happen to you, you seriously have first world problems. My goodness. Okay, let's see what else you got, lady.
His name is Miguel.
Okay, well, I don't really care about.
He's fantastic. He's been our landscaper for like 3 years, and
sure he's got skills. Yeah.
he and his crew like installed the sprinklers in the backyard. They help build a fence. They help take care of our home, and we pay them really, really well because they work really hard.
Okay.
And we have not heard from Miguel in a month.
You might want to check Alligator Alcatraz. Although a month, he's probably out of there because those are temporary type of situations, you know, anyway. So keep going. What else? What else you got?
And I'm terrified.
Terrified. Why? You're still at your house.
Look at this, guys, on 42nd Street.
This is
Look what they
crazy.
found in this white vehicle here, this van. Look at this. They took all of this out.
So, just to give you some context, this van was found in New York City. I think it got in an accident or something, and the guy took off. And you know, of course, when they find him, he's, you know, Middle Eastern descent. Shocker. But there are a lot of propane. They found I think it was like 30 something propane tanks, some gasoline tanks in the back of this van. Now, I'm not going to judge just too quickly here. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion, but it sounds like, it looks like maybe this guy was planning to use this as a makeshift bomb. But I don't know, maybe he was just delivering a bunch of propane to a party. I don't know, but it's pretty suspect.
The guy took off, he got
Pretty
into an
terrifying.
accident and he took off. And they pried the vehicle open and this is what they got. On 42nd Street. Imagine this. Did you see the kerosene? This guy was ready to rumble.
Yep.
Thank you, New York City firefighters and police officers.
They did good.
Look at this.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people try and play like gotcha games about these kinds of things. And it's like, look, I care more about whether somebody has a home.
Masculine Based says, that's not progress. That's Marxism in a hoodie. Yeah. Look, if you guys vote him in, talking to you, New York, you're asking for what you're going to get. And what you're going to get is nothing but unbelievable suffering and pain for everybody in that city. But, if you want to embrace this communistic piece of trash, fine. But don't go crying to the rest of the country when you got to stand in, food lines for 6 hours for maybe not even a loaf of bread, maybe just like a few pieces of bread. It's going to be horrible, but I guess you're going to have to be like that little baby that, has to touch the hot stove. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, you guys are stupid. Daddies says, nothing screams down with capitalism like leather chairs and noise-canceling headphones. Well, you have to remember, Mom Donnie is going to be part of the elite, so he's not going to feel any of the effects of the oppression, this oppressive blanket he's going to lay on top of the entire city. He's going to be living large while everybody else is being smothered to death. Bradley Myers says, we need to go back to the 50s approach on communists in America. I totally agree with that 100%. We need to take it as a serious threat because it is something that is starting to rise in the political arenas, and not just in New York, in Minnesota, and I believe in Colorado. This stuff is popping up, so we need to pull it out like a weed right now before it spreads.
There is a deficit among young people, a social skill deficit, among other skills.
Wow, some honesty coming up. Okay, I wouldn't expect it from the nose ring and the dye job, but okay, I'll give credit where credit's due. So let's keep going.
And we can acknowledge that without being cruel and unkind. I already blocked the person.
We can acknowledge that by not being cruel and unkind, but I blocked. But I was a dick and I blocked somebody. The hypocrisy is just run so deep with these people, and they just are so unaware of what they're actually saying.
But calling it the Gen Z stare, and then shitting on Gen Z.
I can't do it. I don't know what it's like.
And saying that...
Do you know what the Gen Z stare is? I just kind of learned about this, but apparently it's when they... I don't even know if they have to say anything, but they just kind of stare at the camera awkwardly with no expression on their face. Like, I don't... I'm not even sure how to do it, but I'm sure you've seen it in other videos. Anyways.
They're upset about that because they think they invented everything, among other things, is in fact bullying. Yeah, no. It's fucking rude, it's fucking unkind, and it is the exact same thing that boomers did to us. Stop it. Y'all sound stupid, and you're fucking rude.
Okay.
This is disgusting.
It's not really disgusting. It's pretty awesome, actually. So an ice raid in Pennsylvania. So let's see what's going down here.
This is disgusting.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Okay.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. Targeting innocent people. Covering your faces. This is disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed. These are hardworking people. You're separating families. You should be ashamed. This is disgusting.
Well, look, all of these hardworking people, sure, maybe they're hardworking. They probably are. But they all had a chance, ample opportunity to, even though they did come in illegally, they could have, gone through the route of doing the paperwork or whatever and getting their citizenships. I don't think that they would be denied that if they went that route, but they chose to not even try to get citizenship. So, yeah. And all of these things that this lady is shouting at the ICE agents, those are all assigned opinions. It's what the hive mind told her to say. It's what the hive mind told her to think. She has no personal opinions on it. She only says what she's been told to say. And that's the truth for all these people on the left. They have no critical thinking skills, and they're just puppets. Just regurgitating the words that the mainstream media and the hive mind tell them to say.
For all the MAGA and conservative types out there, let's be honest.
Yeah,
what's going to happen when the people on this side who employ morality, empathy, compassion, people who
well, if the people on the left employed compassion and morality, that would actually be a first. So let's do that. Let's try to kick that into their way of doing things. That would be a good thing for everybody.
Try to avoid hypocrisy.
That would be great.
What happens when all of us?
Yeah.
Because remember, there's more of us than there are of you.
False. That is totally false. Not even close. Not even close. You're taking all the people on the right and all the people that you could say are moderate in the middle. No, you don't even come close.
What happens when we decide that we are no longer playing by our rules of morality, common sense, and decency?
What? When have you ever played with that playbook? Never. It's never happened. So where is this coming from? Where is this self-righteousness coming from? Because it's completely wrong. You are gaslighting everyone listening to this video right now.
And what happens when the left decides they're going to play like the right? You might want to think about that for a while.
Like I said, if the left wanted to act like the right, the country would be far better off, because we would actually start to be more unified. And that could only be a good thing for America. So yeah, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try.
I wasn't actually going to respond to any of these comments because I know they're not being asked in good faith. But because so many of you have requested specific examples, I decided I'd give you a couple. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge the fact that just because you and people in your immediate circle aren't feeling the negative consequences of these laws being removed or reversed, does not mean it's not bad.
So, which means, as a predicate to what I'm about to say, it's not actually something that's happening. So nobody out there is going to be feeling what I'm about to spew out of my mouth. Okay, gotcha. We gotcha. This is 100% gaslight. Go.
Any right being removed that causes a negative effect for any human being that is living in the United States is a problem. Period.
No,
but now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'll give you a few examples of rights that have been taken away.
All right.
Let's start with the right to due process.
Okay, yeah.
What about birthright citizenship?
Okay.
What about women's rights to reproductive health care?
What about them?
What about civil rights for members of the LGBTQ plus community?
Nothing's
what
happening
about the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies? I personally think those are all super important.
And the fact that all of those things you just listed are super important to you tells me everything I need to know about you.
Anybody else ever just think about how it's kind of surreal that you wake up every morning and you get ready for work, meanwhile there's somebody's family member sitting in a concentration camp?
No, I don't. I don't think about that at all, because there are no concentration camps in America. The left live in bizarre world where everything is upside down, topsy-turvy, where good is evil and evil is good. We've got a couple examples of what they consider to be normal, and then what they consider to be more perverse or morally bankrupt, I guess you could say, in their twisted view of reality. So let's take a look at what they think is normal. This to them is entertaining children, very innocent. Have a drag queen reading obviously LGBTQ plus books, trans books, books telling them that their gender is fluid, right? And these kids are what? Some of them are toddlers, I guess. Maybe kindergarten age or pretty close. This, to any sane person, is disgusting, but they think this is totally normal. Now, let's see what they think is on the perverse side. Oh, yep, there it is. Daddy-daughter dance, father-daughter dance, whatever you want to call it. Very innocent, very actually important to a lot of young ladies out there, because this is a big thing to them. But they think this is grooming children. They think this is a horrible thing. We need intervention, my friends. We need some intervention. And of course, the trans Tifa group, not so much the LGB people. They really just want to be left alone, to be honest. But these crazy trans Tifa people, they want the kids to stay in the school system so that they're plugged into the system and that they can manipulate their little minds. And they don't want these kids to be homeschooled. And this is kind of their worst nightmare. It says, "Come back to class. We're not done brainwashing you." And the kids are just like running away. Oh, that's funny.
We're gay, but we're in Barnes & Noble's, and there's a kids book section, a gay kids book section, and this shit is crazy. Look at this. Okay, there's the gay BCs, right? Bye-bye binary. Bye-bye binary with a mohawk on a baby. Gay BCs, you're not ready. Can you hold this? Okay. What? A is for arrow and ace. B is for bi. This is crazy. We're gay, but this is crazy. What? For a baby?
Starting in September 2022, New Jersey first graders will learn about gender identity under new sex education guidelines. A sample lesson plan reads as follows. You might feel like you're a boy, even if you have body parts as some people might tell you are girl parts. You might feel like you're a girl, even if you have body parts as some people might tell you are boy parts. And you might not feel like you're a boy or a girl, but you're a little bit of both. No matter how you feel, you're perfectly normal. Yes, Junior might be struggling with his fractions, but never fear, he's rock solid on his preferred pronouns. The Evanston-Skokie School District 65 in Illinois has adopted a new LGBTQ plus Equity Week curriculum that will teach kids in pre-K and kindergarten about people who have more than one gender or no gender at all. Kids in first grade can pick their own pronouns, including Z, Zer, and Tree, and are told they can switch pronouns anytime they wish. All feelings are respected all the time. Third graders, generally around 8 years old, are also encouraged to overcome their prejudice that gender is binary.
Minnesota just got their hands caught in the cookie jar. Autism centers across the state are now under investigation for Medicaid fraud because their billing has gone up from 1.2 million in 2017 to 228 million in 2024. Wow, that's a lot of taxpayer money down the drain and into somebody's pockets. So yeah, this is not an isolated case. Blue states especially are going to see some serious Medicare fraud. And unfortunately, these autism centers, they're just one of the fingers in the pie. There are so many different branches that dip into this Medicaid, and a lot of fraud is still yet to be uncovered. Check it out.
Take a look at this graph showing the explosion in this program. This is the amount of money the state has paid in Medicaid claims to autism treatment providers using your tax dollars. You can see in 2017, not that much, just more than $1 million. But you see the gradual growth here. In 2021, more than $80 million. But look at last year, more than $220 million paid out in claims, with a grand total of just shy of $700 million. This is what state investigators are now looking at, these soaring costs, and questioning how many providers are doing real work.
You want to have as much sex as possible, but then I say if I get pregnant, I can kill the baby. That's really dark.
It's not killing the baby.
What, killing what?
A clump of cells.
You're a clump of cells. I'm a clump of cells. We're all clumps of cells.
Animals aren't a clump of cells? So they're so shocked and offended that they were just called a clump of cells. But they just called fetuses a clump of cells. These people are so retarded. I'm sorry. They are.
What do we do when we're faced with people with all of the homophobia, transphobia, racism, speciesism?
What? Speciesism? What? Okay.
All the isms. What do we do with those people? Should we just send them so much love that they don't know what to do with themselves? Does that work? Or should we be a little bit more firm and tell them that this isn't okay and they have to work on themselves? As activists, I know that we don't want to drive people away and we don't want to harm others, but what do we do to those who are causing harm to everyone who doesn't look like them?
They're not.
I'm not really sure the answer, but maybe if someone could point me to some resources, I'd be happy to look into it, because I'm just not so certain that love and light is the way to go. And I know that we can't be too harsh because algorithms don't like us bullying some of the grossest people on the planet, even though I do enjoy it.
Some of the grossest people. Here's a resource for you. A mirror. If you take a look at it, you will actually see the true problem. Get rid of identity politics, and all of these isms will magically go away.
I really, really, really wish that Republicans would stop using the words entitlement programs like it's a bad thing. Like, okay, yes, I've been paying into taxes and stuff like that since I was 14 years old. I got my first job at 14. Used to work at King's Dominion, their amusement park out there in Virginia. Fucking, if there's a program out there that can help me, I am entitled to use it because I paid my taxes. Well, that's how that works.
Yeah, if you need it. Yeah, if you're totally right. You pay taxes, you're into the system, you've got skin in the game. But if you don't actually need it, you shouldn't be claiming it. That's the problem with a lot of people out there.
This alligator Alcatraz thing is cruel. We're detaining illegal immigrants in a swamp prison with no space, no AC, they're cramped, the kids are in cages, it's inhumane. Yeah, I agree, those photos look terrible. Wait, you agree? Yeah, that's why we stopped doing it. Those pictures you're showing, yeah, those were under Biden and Obama. Okay, but still, this alligator Alcatraz thing is extreme. How so? They each have their own bed, which is something they didn't have under the last administration. They have stone floors, air conditioning, legal advisors, medical staff, even outdoor time because there's a rec yard. I mean, I'd argue it's better than most jails in America. This is what a typical US jail looks like. These aren't just people who overstayed a visa, you do realize that, right? These are people who crossed illegally and committed violent crimes. But they're detained. They can't leave. No, they can. It's called self-deportation. They can leave and go anywhere they want, just not the US. It's not a concentration camp. No one is being tortured unalive or being forced to stay. Honestly, I'd argue it's better than how Biden Obama handled it. Back then, they had people in 100-degree heat, no AC, and jammed like sardines.
After Donald Trump got booed at the FIFA Club World Cup yesterday, he uncomfortably lingered on stage while Chelsea was lifting the trophy, even though everybody was like telling him to get off the stage so they can celebrate. And so I was just curious. I went to Chelsea's Instagram and I was wondering if they published a photo with Donald Trump in it for their World Champions photo. And they picked one where he is not visible. You can see that in the photo I just showed you, Donald Trump was standing right around there. He's no longer there. They picked one where you can see right there, he is completely covered by all of the players.
Well, if you can actually see him, that means he's technically still visible, you doof. And furthermore, why on earth would this soccer group want, I mean, look, they just won. Why would they want the president of any country up front and center when they're not part of the team, right? I don't care who the president or the authority figure is. If they're not part of the team, they shouldn't be part of the official photo that goes up on the team's website. I mean, come on, Sisson, use your brain a little bit. It's not because they hate Trump. It's because Trump's had nothing to do with them winning. Jeez.
Obviously, this was deliberate. Like, they didn't just accidentally pick a photo where Donald Trump couldn't be seen. They didn't pick Donald Trump because none of these players like him. You saw all the Chelsea players when Trump was there, like, looking at each other, wondering if he was going to stay on stage. One of them asked, what is he doing? Normally, having a president of the United States in your photo would be a pretty cool thing, but Donald Trump is so disliked around the world that they deliberately took him out of the photo because they recognize how awful he is. Man, things just continue to get worse for Donald Trump.
While I don't believe in God, I do believe in karma, and that bitch was on fire today. Donald Trump has been diagnosed with a chronic venous insufficiency. While it's not life-threatening, but it is progressive, and that it causes blood pooling, pain, and a reduced quality of life.
Man, you are one twisted f***.
Breaking news about the president's health. He's been recently diagnosed with ugly stupiditis.
Wow.
And there is no cure. And it is contagious.
These people are sick.
It's time for Dave's Detox. What the heck? Nope. On high alert.
Sit. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
Blake, our dog, could
Get
do
sexy.
that. Get sexy? What?
Ooh, yes.
That's awesome. That's funny. Oh, jeez, cats. Aw. Nice. Oh, yeah, buddy. I'm with you. This is some good reverse psychology here. She couldn't get the dog into the car. So she gets in. Car. That's awesome. Oh, nice. Very cool. All right. right, my friends, that is it for today. I hope you liked the episode, and if you did like it, please hit that like button. It just takes literally a second of your time to do so, and it helps tell YouTube that this video is, that it's liked, that people enjoy it, and it'll start to push it out in front of more eyeballs, and that is what we're looking to do here on the channel. So again, if you like the video, hit that like button. Even if you didn't like the video, do me a solid and just hit it. It's not a big deal. So please subscribe and slap that bell so you're notified whenever I put another episode up onto YouTube. All right, until the next episode, stay safe, know that you're loved and appreciated, and until we meet again, have a great day.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.